dear comrade Simonenko, dear comrades, we would like to thank you, all the comrades of Communist Party of Ukraine, for your invitation. We greet the 100 years of history of the Communist Party of Ukraine and the anniversary of its founding, as well as the 25 years since its restoration. This anniversary of the Communists of Ukraine coincides with an extremely harsh struggle and confrontation they are waging against the vehement anti-communism that has been unleashed by the bourgeois class of their country, the reactionary government and its mechanism with the support of the European Union. We express our full solidarity with the Communist Party of Ukraine in its struggle against the orgy of anti-communism and the reactionary decommunization law. We denounce the intolerable prosecutions, the recent raid on the offices of the Communist Party of Ukraine, the arbitrary and provocative arrestments of its president and other cadre, the successive trials with trumped-up evidence, unjust undocumented indictments based on a reprehensive law that prosecutes the communists that fought against the Nazis. In terms of the vile anti-communist operation at the expense of the Communists of Ukraine, the Communist Party of Greece has repeatedly, steadfastly and continually intervened by vehemently denouncing the anti-communist hysteria with mobilizations by the labor movement, protests by trade unions and mass organizations, demonstrations, expression of support, and all kinds of demarches towards the government of Ukraine through its embassy in Athens, as well as towards the Greek government in the Greek Parliament and the European Union. With our questions to the European Parliament during visits by Ukrainian authorities in the European Parliament, we continually highlight the anti-communist attacks and demand that this should cease immediately. We will continue in the same way. Dear comrades, in the most provocative way, history is turned upside down and communism is equated with the monster of fascism. Propaganda and the use of communist symbols are banned while the action of communists is obstructed. This is a blatant political persecution and it must be condemned in the consciousness of the Ukrainian people. They consider that with such practices, they will erase from the people's memory the communist decisive contribution to the great anti-fascist people's victory, to the struggle to achieve important labor and popular rights under socialism in the USSR that today are being taken back one by one. It is clear that the persecution of the Communist Party of Ukraine, the upsurge in anti-communism, is a prerequisite for the more effective promotion of the imperialist plans of the European Union, NATO, and the United States of America in Ukraine and in the wider geostrategic region for the interest of capital in competition with Russia. For these projects, the Syriza-ANEL government in Greece is leading the way as the most devoted standard bearer of NATO and EU plans in the Balkans and the wider region. It promotes harsh anti-labor measures, wage pension cuts, frenzied tax robbery, privatizations. It restricts the right to strike and the protests against the evictions it promotes, while multiplying the US-NATO bases on Greek territory, involving our country in serious undertakings. Dear comrades, the escalation of anti-communism is an indispensable tool for promoting anti-labor measures and at the same time a clear sign of the intensification of anti-popular policies and new strikes against the people and their interests. No matter how much nationalist hysteria is drummed up in conjunction with cosmopolitan slogans in favor of NATO and the EU, they cannot conceal the fact that the peoples who lived under socialism and experienced its unsurpassed achievements compare what they have now and what they lost in the context of today's capitalist barbarism, loss of life, poverty, exploitation, war, immigration, refugees. This supremacy of socialism with an economy and power that solve basic popular problems today stands in sharp contrast to capitalism, where the problems of the people not only remain unsolved, but they are growing and cause distress to every working class popular family. Communists now have an obligation to reveal the systematic deception of the peoples, the exoneration of the capitalist system and its barbaric financial laws, the cultivation of the illusions that there is a people's friendly form of management of capitalism to fight also the communist parties against opportunism. The tasks of the communists are very important today. Going against the current, the communist parties need to struggle forcefully against bourgeois nationalist propaganda and the cosmopolitanism of the capital of delusions and lies that in other countries and in Greece have become bankrupt, that supposedly within the EU and NATO, two predatory alliances of capital, the people can achieve prosperity and be safe. Capitalism, this rotten exploitative system, relies on enhancing the competitiveness and profitability of capital. It has nothing to do with the satisfaction of people's needs. Parties that have been called upon to assume responsibility for its beautification and maintenance willingly serve the business group so it can be managed by the bourgeoisie that offers a lot. Only the Communist Party, the party of the working class, with its irreplaceable role, guided by the supremacy of our ideology, Marxist-Leninism, follows a radically different path for a just society, for socialism and communism. Only with the irreplaceable contribution of the Communist Party can the working class fulfill its historic mission and build its alliance with the popular strata to strengthen the anti-monopoly, anti-capitalist struggle in order to take the power and the economy in its hands. Today it is necessary for communists to intervene against imperialist war, and much more as the inter-imperialist rivalries sharpen and the bourgeois class, in their efforts to safeguard their own interests, shed the blood of the peoples. Communists have great responsibility in the enlightenment, the guidance of the working class, of the popular strata to decisively respond to anti-communism, to overcome the multi-dimensional traps that are laid by the bourgeois class and the imperialist unions like the EU and NATO. We would like to reassure our comrades of the Communist Party of Ukraine that we will continue to keep the Greek people informed about the anti-communist machinations in Ukraine and in other countries. We will take every measure in order for the solidarity of the Greek people to become more firmly rooted with those who are persecuted, with the Communist Party of Ukraine, with the Ukrainian comrades and militants, first and foremost with our intervention in the workers' popular movement, but also in the Greek and European Parliament. We will continue and intensify our struggle against anti-communism, against such attempts at terrorizing communists, which in this and in thousands of other previous attempts in history came to nothing. Dear comrades, this year our party, Communist Party of Greece, completes also 100 years of life and action. The Communist Party completes 1 century of struggle and sacrifice, remaining as the only really new party in the Greek society. This year, on the 23rd and 25th of November, culminating the celebration of 100 years of our party, we will have the pleasure to host the International Meeting of Communist and Workers' Parties with the participation of dozens of Communist and Workers' Parties from all over the world. Dear comrades, with revolutionary optimism, we have the powerful and unshakable conviction that the truth will shine, the anti-communist machination will fail, the people will draw conclusions, socialism is necessary and timely. We continue our struggle to fulfill the historic mission of the Communist Party for socialism and communism. Long live the Communist Party of Ukraine. Long live socialism.